You're not going to always be able to hire that unicorn, but you can always develop a unicorn yourself. And hiring someone that doesn't have every qualification that you think you need. The question is can they learn it?
We have the pleasure of welcoming Suzanne Lucas today to our interview series. I'm Aishwarya Jain from the peopleHum team. Before we begin, just a quick intro of peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end, one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work with AI and automation technologies. We run the peopleHum blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. And now for our guest. Suzanne is a freelance writer who is very well famous for her blogs in the Evil HR Lady blog page. She is most famous for her incredible original ideas on the HR space and is recognized for putting people first in all her ideas. Her blogs get 300,000 to 500,000 hits per month and is considered one of the best sources to understand the HR world. She is a well-known keynote speaker and has been listed as one of the most influential HR professionals by a multitude of global organizations in multiple years. We are happy to have the opportunity to interview someone of her stature in our interview series. Welcome, Suzanne. We're thrilled to have you.
Oh my goodness, you make me sound you make me sound better than I am. But thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
It's really a pleasure. So, Suzanne, why do you call yourself the evil HR lady? What is this about?
Well, it's because most people don't have good feelings about their human resources department. We're the ones that are there to tell you when you're getting fired, and we're the ones to put you on an improvement plan, and we're the ones that you blame when you don't get a big raise because your manager says, well, HR wouldn't let me give you a bigger raise. Well, we don't really care all that much, but finance set the budget, but we're the ones that get the blame. No one ever says, well, the finance said we couldn't do this. They're like, well, HR says. Well, yeah. So we kind of have this bad reputation because of the things we do for our job. But then also a lot of HR has made some bad choices. The way many companies handle recruiting really reflects badly on human resources as a whole. And of course, there's people that say recruiters aren't part of HR, but to employees they are. They're the face of HR. And recruiting is something that we do poorly. As a general rule, we treat candidates poorly. And so all of those things together, when people think of HR, they think it's evil. So there you go. That's me.
That is really interesting the way you think about it. It kind of stand out from the crowd, and it's very kind of it's really interesting to think of it like that. And maybe you're right. A lot of organizations actually do not pay so much attention to the HR folks, and that's a pity. But I think we're here to change that. People like you are here to change that. And I even heard a TED talk that you delivered, which was about forget talent, get to work. Now, there is a common opinion that people with natural talent have more probability to, perform high, and the rest of them are just going to be ordinary performers and follow instructions plainly. What do you have to say about this?
I strongly disagree. I mean, talent is helpful, right? If you have natural talent in something, it makes it a lot easier for you to achieve in that area. But nobody has the talent to do organic chemistry. In order to do organic chemistry, you have to learn it. You have to work. And you may be talented that you can learn a little bit faster than somebody else, but you have to do the work. And it's really that work that's important. I have a tremendous musical talent. I'm a very talented pianist, but I'm a terrible pianist because why? I didn't ever practice as a child. And since I stopped taking lessons at 16, my skills have just dropped off. The other day I pulled out a piece of music that I played for a piano recital when I was 12, and I couldn't play it. I'm like embarrassed. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't play this piece I played at 12. I didn't lose any of my talent, but I stopped developing it. And so when we focus so much on talent and not on skill building, we end up with someone that's mediocre.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying that, basically people have to practice their talent. They have to kind of keep on upskilling and reskilling. And, in this process, what do you think the HR is supposed to do? How are they supposed to play a role of an enabler?
Well, HR needs to focus on the training and development aspect. If you're focused just on talent and you start thinking that, okay, I need to have someone in here that's perfect for the role, it prevents you from actually hiring people that are really good at the job, or that people who could be really good at it. So much in business you can't learn in school, you have to learn it on the job. And it's not because schools are bad, it's just the way life is. And so you need to be open to the training and development. And from an HR standpoint, a lot of training and development falls under HR in the first place. But the other thing is that we need to work with managers to help them understand. You're not going to always be able to hire that unicorn, but you can always develop a unicorn yourself. So what you look for is somebody that has the desire to learn and the ability to learn. And that sometimes means hiring someone that doesn't have every qualification that you think you need. The question is can they learn it? And it's often a lot faster to train and develop someone than it is to search out for that one candidate that knows all 43 different skills that you think you need for this position. Hire someone that has 25 of those and have them learn the remaining ones.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And I think, especially now with the current situation, a lot of people are moving to be more people centric versus being business centric before. And, that might be, as they say, that might be a new normal. What's your take on that?
Well, I hope that continues. One of my big fear with this worldwide shutdown is that a lot of people have lost their jobs, and anytime people lose their jobs, that's tragic. But it also puts companies back in this idea of you should be grateful that you have a job, instead of we should be grateful that you're willing to work for us. Um, because I mean, even if you want to take a look at Jeff Bezos, if everybody at Amazon said, "Screw you, we're out of here," he doesn't have a business anymore. I mean, he's got enough money in the bank, but a lot of his money is in Amazon stock. It would just go away. He doesn't have anything if people aren't willing to work for him. Um, and when unemployment is high, businesses tend to treat candidates very poorly. They treat employees very poorly because I can do whatever I want to you because I know you can't get a better job. Um, Before this started, at least in the US, unemployment was really low and companies were starting to make these changes. And now I'm afraid that we're going to go back. Um, I hope that we don't. I hope that this is a blip and everyone goes back to saying, oh, yeah, our people are our most important asset. And but I'm nervous.
Yes, I think there is good reason to be nervous because we just don't know what's going to come, ahead of this. We just have no idea what we're supposed to brace ourselves for. And a lot of people now are remote working, right? So how do you think, HR can help in this? Or is it just HR, not just HR, but leaders who are supposed to kind of take care of their teams? But what can the HR do to help with people engagement right now?
Right now is so unusual. And it's really a time when HR needs to speak up and advocate for people. You read stories of managers that want people to leave their cameras on all day so that they can make sure that they're sitting at their desks. I'm going to say right now, any manager that does that should be fired. And 100%. you manage people on what they do, not how long they sit in front of their computer screen. And for some people, if you're working at home and you have enough space and you don't have kids that need care, because all the child care is closed, what are you going to do with your toddler? I mean, I don't have toddlers. I have teenagers, and they're still annoying to be home when I'm trying to work. Um, you know, the this is the time when HR needs to step in and say, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is so damaging to people. This is the time when HR needs to advocate for flexibility. People will say, well, everybody has more time now that they don't have to commute to the office. Yeah, but everybody is stressed out. Everybody's got responsibilities now that they didn't have before. You may feel really lucky to have a job, but your spouse may have lost their job. Um, if you, as I said, if you have kids, they're out of school, they're out of daycare, they're home. A lot of parents are trying to homeschool, work full time, run a household. And I don't know about other families, but my house is a disaster all of the time because everyone is always here. And so I'm constantly cleaning and constantly telling my kids to clean, which they love. There's all of this other stuff going on, and everybody needs to be compassionate towards everybody else. And that's where HR can really step in and say to leadership, hey, you need to have compassion for your employees. As long as they are producing whatever it is, then let them have their own flexibility. This is, normally I would say, if you work from home, you have to have childcare, you have to have a dedicated workspace. That's not something that is practical in the moment. When you had 24-hour notice that you're going to work at home, you couldn't go add an addition onto your house. um, you know you couldn't hire a nanny to take care of your kids. You couldn't, maybe you had a desk in your bedroom, but that's what your spouse is also using, and so one of you's got to sit at the kitchen table, and it's just a disaster. And HR really needs to help managers understand that. And then with employees, I think it's really important for HR to be reaching out and saying, are you okay? Because a lot of people are not okay. People have lost um, loved ones to this horrible disease. So many people have lost jobs, and so even though your job may be secure, your spouses may not, your sisters may not, your brothers may not, your neighbor, your kid, your whatever, all these people that you care about, everybody's under this incredible stress. So if HR could reach out a little bit. I saw the other day about a company that just sent an chocolate Easter egg to everybody. And that's such a tiny thing, but things like that can really make an employee feel, okay, you're thinking about me, you care about me. And in this time, that's what employees really need.
Absolutely, you are so correct. I think there are so many people just trying to multitask, take care of household chores, plus take care of reporting on time. And at this time, we need as much help as we can. And HR can really help, kind of bridge that gap. And they need to constantly communicate with the employees and even with the managers as to how they must go about the situation, because it's just so unique. And I think even HR is not trained to handle such situations.
This is new for everybody. This is new for everybody. This is so not normal. And we're all learning as we go, and we're all making mistakes as we go. And, like I said, with the manager that wants to keep the video camera on, they need someone to say, no, that's a bad idea. Because if they're used to stepping out of their office and being able to see everybody in their little cubes, or maybe you have an open office, which I hate, but where you can just see everybody, that's how you're used to seeing, okay, are you on task? Are you on task? Um, it's a complete mind shift to just look at, okay, what product am I getting at the end of the day? Where's my productivity? And you need someone to speak up. And so right now, I mean, always, HR is a function that needs to take risks and have a lot of guts. It's hard to stand up to your CEO or your senior vice president. You need to do it. Now, they can say no, they can override you, because HR is never the final decision maker, but you need to stand up, because your job is to protect the company. And if the employees have bad feelings towards the management, you're not protecting the company. You're helping the company to destroy itself. So stand up and say, hey, no, that's a bad idea. And there's plenty of resources out there that you can use for backup. You don't have to just say, because I said so. There's a lot of stuff out there that you can find that will back everything that I'm saying up.
Mhm. Absolutely. I think a little bit of courage will go a long way right now. And
Absolutely.
yeah, because it's ridiculous. How can you just stay on camera for such a long time? That's just ridiculous. It
Yeah,
needs to be called out.
it does.
And are there some kind of resources or some kind of training that's kind of available to HRs right now, maybe to help them cope up with the situation and to pay that forward to managers?
I mean, I don't know of a specific training, but I will tell you that people are really addressing this in a big way in within the HR community. And one of the places that you can really find help on this, and I have this Facebook group called Evil HR Lady, and anybody on Facebook is welcome to join. And it's full of HR people who are all working together to help us through this. And you can ask your questions, and people can come with you, and they will answer. And people will jump in and give you ideas, give you links to things. And it's a really lovely community of HR people working together. And you'll find that in other HR forums around the internet, that will do that for you right now. And all that stuff is free. People are so willing to help, so willing to help. It's just makes me so happy when I see someone will post a question on my Facebook group, and I don't have time to answer it. And I'll come back an hour later, and there's 20 responses with people from all over saying, here, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing, this is how it worked for us. This is all just people being kind. Just people being kind. There's so much kindness in the world, and I'm very pleased with that.
Wow, that is amazing. And HR community is really what we need right now to help each other out. And that is really heartwarming to see that people are reaching out to each other, they're helping them out, and this is really the way forward. And it's amazing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, and you can do the same thing on LinkedIn. If you post a question on LinkedIn, people will jump in as well. Um, People are anxious to help other people. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, that it really is amazing. And it's free. You just have to post it on social media and you will get help from around the world for free. Isn't that amazing?
It is so amazing. And I mean, certainly there are resources that you can pay, and there's consultants, and I'm not telling you not to hire someone, because, that's how I make my living, hire me. But this is all new. This is all new, dealing with this. Nobody's ever been dealing with this worldwide shutdown before. And so just ask, go out and ask. And here's the important part. If someone else asks and you have an answer, jump in and answer, because it goes both ways. If you're just take, that doesn't make you part of the community. But if if you're willing to share what you know and I'm willing to share what I know, we can all help each other through this. And here's another secret. This is how networking works. And you can build these relationships right now that maybe will get you your dream job in 5 years, because you'll be like, oh yeah, the hiring manager will be like, oh yeah, I had this real problem back during the pandemic and Suzanne helped me out. She's someone we can trust. Let's bring her in for an interview. And that's like the selfish side of things. But so often people think of networking as something that you do when you're looking for a job. Networking is about building relationships. Now is a really good time for the HR community to build relationships, because we all need help. So let's give it to other people and get help from other people.
Absolutely, that is so amazing. It is definitely time to build relationships because I mean we're all seeking help, and this would be a great way to just network and connect with other people in your domain, and to gain more knowledge, gain more expertise in handling problem situations that you've never dealt with. So yeah, that it's a great opportunity. And I also think that. Because we are being more empathetic towards people, we are showing more empathy now, even with people who kind of have disabilities, we're trying to be more inclusive of them, is what we hear. There are stories around. So what is your opinion on inclusion in workplaces? Do you think that it's going to change now? Are people going to see a different version of an inclusive workplace?
I am hoping that there's a lot of positive things that come out of this. One of the things that's going to come out of this is now when managers say, no, I'm sorry, you can't work from home, your job won't allow that, um, even though you need it for health reasons, you can say back, well, I worked from home just fine all of March, April, and May, and hopefully no more. um, and I was able to do my job. So now you can't say that I can't do it. And in the US, that will back up a lot of laws, because you'll be able to argue successfully, this is a reasonable accommodation. Hopefully that will help in all over. The thing that scares me is that companies are going to be very concerned about the continual spread of this virus. Um, and so are they going to be worried about, my cat loves to work from home, are they going to be concerned about people with health problems coming to work? Are you going to be willing to hire people that have asthma because they're at higher risk? Are you going to be willing to hire people that are older because they're at higher risk and you don't want them to get sick, and so we just won't hire you? And that is something that's very concerning. I mean, hopefully we'll get a vaccine that will work really great and this won't be an issue. But until we have that, are companies going to treat things with people with a disability as not hireable because they're concerned about the medical impact of this coronavirus?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a very valid point as well. And what we also see now with the increase in the millennial workforce, there are going to be a lot of graduates that will want to apply for jobs. There will be an unemployment surge. The gig economy is also on the rise. How do you think that this would affect organizational systems in the future?
I don't think anything is ever going to be the same. And actually, I was reading some things about the Black Plague in Europe in the 1400s and how it changed everything. And of course, then 70% of the population died, and we're not looking at anything like that here. But we've all seen how things can be done differently. Um, so this is going to change a lot. And one of the jokes I saw on Facebook, a good HR joke, is um, who was the driving force between your digital transformation? Option A, the CEO. Option B, the chief operating officer. Option three, COVID-19. And that's what it is. Suddenly we had to change. Suddenly, I mean, instantly we had to change. And these changes are going to last forever. With these people graduating, and I feel so bad for them. You know, you've worked really hard, and we just like pat you on the head and say sorry about you won't be able to find a job. Go back and live with your mom. Oh, you can't because you can't travel. Sorry. I mean, it's awful. But they're going to enter into a very different world than the people who graduated in 2019 entered into. And education is one of those places that will never, ever be the same. Ever. I mean, just in my own family, my teenage daughter, her school, she's in high school, went to a straight online model where they have the same classes every day at the same time, but it's all via Zoom. She loves it. She loves it. And so she's planning for the next school year to continue that and to not go back to her regular school, but to do an online school. We would have never in a million years considered that before this. I would have been like, no, that's a ridiculous thing. She loves it. You're going to see a lot of things like that within education. All of a sudden, we didn't need the classroom for everything that we thought we needed the classroom. You're going to see a lot of that in businesses, in call centers. Think about the expense of running a call center that now you can say, well, gosh, for 3 months, we had everybody in our call center working from home. Do we really need to maintain the building, the lights, the infrastructure, to have 300 people sitting in the same room, or do we send them all to work from home? And that also changes some people's options. I've worked at home off and on for the past 16 years. I love it. I'm a bit of an introvert. I'm good with it. A lot of people don't like it. And they're also finding out that they don't like it. And, you know, they like not having to commute, because who in their right mind likes commuting? Nobody. But they may say, you know what, I'm going to stop fighting for the telecommuting right. I like going to an office. I like having a set place different from where I eat and sleep. And you're going to also find people that are like, you know what, I have learned during this that my family is the most important thing to me. I'm not willing to work 80 hours a week anymore. And how these changes will manifest is going to really depend on how things go. But definitely nothing's ever going to be the same.
Yes, absolutely. Nothing. I think radical things come out of a crisis, and suddenly, all the lag in technology that we were having has suddenly been kind of pushed, and now we all have to adapt to technology suddenly. So it's just, somehow it was just meant to be. We've just moved so much into the future, and we're doing so many things that we did not want to do, and now we have more choices. So I agree with you, it's all going to change.
It's kind of exciting. I mean, it's tragic that this is why it's changing, but it's kind of exciting to see change.
Yeah, yeah, it's sad that it takes a crisis to kind of make these radical changes, but it's really true. That's how it's been for years, I think. And absolutely, let's see what comes out of this. So finally, to wrap this interview up, I'm just going to ask you the last question. If you have any advice or any other important sound bites that you'd like to leave our viewers with.
I would just say keep on going, help as many people as you can. And if you feel terrible and you're like, oh, this is awful and I'm so depressed, that's okay too. This is not normal. There's nothing normal about it, and it's okay to feel rotten from time to time. But when you do, focus on what can you do to help somebody else. And as you start helping other people, you tend to start feeling better, which then allows you to accomplish the things that you need to.
That is great advice. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for those lovely words. I had a very engaging conversation. So thank you for sharing your views with us. It's been a learning experience.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Take care, Suzanne. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.